Hello guys, we meet to see together my 10 tips to win in sports betting. So these are tips that are fairly general and that are valid in online sports betting for some years and will remain so for years to be continued. Because these are really the things that you have to be careful as much when you are starting out, that when you have a few years of experience behind you. So I will just list this for you 10 tips, and if necessary, I will go into a little more detail. So the first piece of advice I could give you, so it is not a piece of advice that sweets you save money, but anyway, it will allow you to preserve yourself, you personally, as well as your state of mind and more broadly your mind. So this first tip is that you should not bet money that you need to live. It may seem logical like that, but there are a lot of people getting started in the bets and will let themselves be overwhelmed, will bet money they will miss their shopping to pay their rent or other things essential for a decent daily living. So these are all things to be careful of. You really don't have to invest in sport betting only money that you can afford to lose, because the deficits exist, and in fact, when you have a bad streak and you keep going loses, it can go very, very fast, especially if you are mismanaging your money. The second piece of advice I can give you is to just find B to manage your bets well and never exceed 5% of your capital per bet. So if, for example, you have a capital of $100, you should not put more than $5 per bet, because quite simply, it is to preserve your capital, and that's for power always in anticipation of a bad series to have the opportunity to rebuild yourself behind. Then the third tip is going to be always play the best odds for every one of your bets. And for that, you have to use an odds comparator. When is it necessary, even that you take this reflex of being registered with different bookmakers? And always play with the one who offers you best odds for the bet you want to make. In fact, by playing the best odds, you will simply have less of chance of losing money and more of chance of making money with sports betting. My fourth piece of advice will be to favor simple bet. Why? Well, in fact, it is necessary really avoid sets with 3 matches or more. I advise you not to exceed the 2 games in a combine. Why? Because the more you will add matches in your bet, so you know that when you make a combination, the odds are multiplied. Okay, so it's true you can win a lot of money with combination, but by multiplying the odds, you also multiply your chances of losing, because the probability that the event occurs decreases in the same time as the odds grow, you know? So then the fifth tip is gonna be to always keep his cool. You really have to manage your emotions. So it's easier said than make, but really you have to know that the good series exist and that the bad series also exist. We must not party when you have made series, because someday you will have a bad run. And it's the same. When you lose a bet, don't cry. When you lose 3 bets in a row, don't cry. Here we must not cry, it's not use. It is better to ignore it when you have a bad streak and avoid getting carried away on the right series. For example, when you are going to be in big confidence, when you go to chain a lot of winning bets, maybe you will try to increase your bets. And this is precisely the trap. This is that you will think yourself all powerful, but that's normal with yourself, and you will easily tend to increase your bets. But no, precisely, it is in those moments that you really have to have good management, as much in good series as in bad series, because one like the other can be very dangerous for your finance. The sixth tip, it is at the different bookmakers. Take advantage of welcome bonuses when is it worth it. So the welcome bonuses can be interesting. So I advise you to take the opportunity to increase your capital quite easily. And what you have to be careful of is to always read the conditions of this bonus, okay? It can be very boring. It can be here. You can lose, it can be half an hour reading the conditions general. But what is it half an hour besides the amount of money that you can lose? Usually, the bonus is up to $100, which is doubled, or which is refunded. Finally, there is a whole bunch of possibilities. We have to waste half an hour to earn $100 behind, or to avoid in any case to lose $100. So take advantage and take full advantage of the bonuses of welcome to the various bookmakers. Then the seventh point is going to be to understand betting rules and how it works of the bookmaker. So it goes back to what I told you in point first. You have to read the small lines of the contract. Yes, you make a type of bet and you don't understand not what it is. You're gonna have to go under the bookmaker's condition and that you see what this bet corresponds to. In which case you are a winner, in which case you are reimbursed, in which case you are the loser, okay? You can also have the case at tennis, for example, you often have guys who do not play. They will give up without playing, or they will give up during the game. So you have to look in which case you will be reimbursed if there is an abandonment, in which case you are going to be a winner if there is abandonment, in which case you will be the loser if there is abandonment. That is it. It's a little things that you need to know. In fact, for example, it might be more interesting to play a certain type betting of a certain sport at the bookmaker rather than in another because the conditions are going to be more interesting. Quite simply in one versus the other. Then the eighth point. The eighth advice I can give you to win in sports betting is going to be the news. In fact, having good information is in most cases the key to success. Why? Because when you are going to have good informations, well, anyway, informations which are from a reliable source and that you can have before the bookmaker, it will be an advantage that you are going to have in relation to him and be compared to all other bettors because that you will be able to have a head start and so you will be able to have better odds. And really, one piece of information can do all the difference. For example, you take cycling. If you know that such and such a rider will have had problems before the race and that he was the favorite on such an ordeal, you know that it might play on his performance of the day. Finally, it's a simple trick. The example, it is the simple you see, but here it is, these are things like that is information which can be very important. Or a player who is there, is not in good shape, that he's injured or that he's in process of divorce. These are all things, in fact, they may be important. Information that can affect your result. So really, the information might be K number one, the most important in your bets. Always bet while looking for information and not just looking at the statistics. So the ninth piece of advice I can give you to win in sports betting, it will be to follow a tipster only if you can make the same bets as him. So it can be silly what I'm telling you, but when you go looking for a tipster, it may happen that you look at the bets that he done, and you just see if these bets are winners. In fact, ideal when you want to test a tipster is to do the same with small bets, the same bets as him. Why? Because quite simply, if you have a tipster who offers bets that your bookmaker does not offer on his side, it will be annoying, so you really have to be careful of that when you want to follow a tipster in sports betting. So only follow a tipster if you can the same bets as him and at the same odds than him. Because if there is an odds drop that is too big, that's it. If you decide to follow it in the end, it's not beneficial. If it's to have the same history that here, so the same history that once said to make the same bets, but if it's to have a lower balance sheet because that there is too much drop in odds, you won't be worth following in. So these are all parameters to take into account if you ever want to follow up of tipsters in the search that you go to before selecting it. And last point, the 10th piece of advice I can give you, it will obviously be never to try to remake it. Why? Because quite simply, when you try to remake yourself, most of the time, is that you have lost control of your emotions. There are good series, there are bad ones series, that's part of the game. The variance, everyone is subject to this in sports betting. It's okay to have series where you lose. You can have streaks where you win. It's quite normal. And you really don't have to try to do it again. There is only good management, only that handle your capital, your emotions. There you have it. Management in general is what can help you allow to be successful over time. So really, and then anyway, trying to recover is the best way to ruin yourself because you are going to bet impulsiveness on bets that will not be not analyzed correctly and you risk to do anything and therefore to ruin all the work you will have done so far. There you have it. This was the advice I wanted to give you today. Try to apply them. Here I finished this video and on this 10th tip. I will let you subscribe if you like the video and put a like under the video. I say you see you very soon and bye.